Welcome to this Worldview moment. I'll be your host for the segment, Barbara Holmes Brackett. Whether we care to acknowledge it or not, there has been a tangible, deliberate shift in our country's priorities that leans heavily towards socialism. Socialistic governments encourage complete and total reliance on their institutional resources, but their ambitions are not sanctioned by God. The ultimate goal of socialism is to stand in the place of God in the citizens' lives. It wants to be our only provider and protector so it can determine the fate of the public. This goes against everything God has established in His Word about authority. We must learn how to resist the state as it adopts the responsibility of the family, the church, and our businesses and charitable institutions. The Bible has a lot to say about authority, and a common thread in God's mentality is the need for multiple hierarchies of power. We are to submit to those in authority over us in formal settings like in businesses, schooling, and civil service, as well in more personal endeavors like in church and charity. God's Word makes it clear that no institution is meant to have absolute power over us, but that's exactly what a socialistic government wants to have. And the best way to gain that power is to attack the first institution God has set in place, the one that requires a mutual give and take of responsibility, the family. In both the Old and the New Testaments, God details His vision for a godly family. He calls parents to love and nurture their children, as well as educate, protect, and support them as they enter adulthood. In turn, children are to care for their parents when they are no longer able to care for themselves. There's a mutual exchange of responsibilities that benefits everyone. However, as it says in 1 Timothy 5, to turn your back on your family is to deny the faith, and those who neglect members of their household are worse than an unbeliever. Familial welfare and all of its challenges are a responsibility of the family. They are not and should not become a responsibility of the state. Socialism wages war on the idea of a godly family. It teaches its followers that parents don't need to educate or feed or protect their children. It can raise their children for them free of charge. But of course, that's not really free. When a government raises a generation of children, it's ensured that the next generation will believe in the ideology it promotes. Socialistic leaders are invested in votes and figures, not souls of children. In this way, socialism robs the family more than any other godly institution. If we continue to let socialistic ideals permeate our culture, it will corrupt the very foundation of our society. The best way to reassert the authority of God in our lives is to take responsibility for the institutions He has ordained, especially the family. We must take back the responsibility of welfare, and to do that we need to reclaim education, retirement and elderly care, abortion policy, and financial stability. Public education is a tool of the devil to manipulate and ensnare young, impressionable minds. Protect your children by placing them in a private school, optimally a Christian private school. Social Security is a political lie and a failure that enslaves its dependents and fosters an addiction to state resources. Recommit to managing retirement and elderly care on your own terms. Refuse to be complacent about abortion and promote legislation that will fund new mothers who need help with infant care. And try your best to resolve any and all debts you may have to the government so you can speak freely without being bound to the state. It's time to take our futures and our children's futures away from socialism and back into the hands of the family where they belong.